A clear breach of protocol. 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 A clear breach of protocol.
People who say their thoughts are already being acted by an outside force.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day through our television systems, even when the set is turned off. Look around the environment we live in. Carbon dioxide, fluorocarbons, and methane have increased since 1958. Earth is being acclimatized. They are turning our atmosphere into their atmosphere. We are like a natural resource to them. To keep the planet, move on to another. They want benign indifference. They want us drunk.
People who say their thoughts are already being acted by an outside force.
We could be pets, we could be food, but all we really are is livestock. Our impulses are being redirected. are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
People who say their thoughts are already being acted by an outside force.
There is a signal broadcast every second of every day through our television sets, even when the set is turned off.
Alright, friends and enemies of YouTube. Children of the Metaverse. Digital lab rat. Digital junkies. I am Axis fucking Rat Blood. And I am here to continue my endeavor because I am a persistent motherfucker. And persistency is what got me where I am through life. Not passive resistance. Not pointing my finger at things and looking at the all of it all without interacting, but casting some contemptuous judgment on it. No, I endeavored into it all. But I will definitely give you a moment to just gaze into retrospect on your life.
The God Program. Religion is only a primitive concoction by man to command, suppress, and exploit others, to which only spiritually weak life forms succumb. The whole system needs to collapse. Today, they're using more elaborate ways to program you and dumb you down. The God Program. Instead of waking up the populace, they're dumbing them down. The God Program. Today, they're using more elaborate ways to program you and dumb you down. The God Program. Instead of waking up the populace, they're dumbing them down. You're the problem. You're the one helping in holding up this hideous false reality. The whole system needs to collapse. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. Control. The whole system needs to collapse. Today, they're using more elaborate ways to program you and dumb you down. The God Program. Instead of waking up the populace, they're gunning them down. The God Program. System needs to collapse. Control. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. The whole system needs to collapse. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. The whole system needs to collapse. You're the problem. You're the one helping and holding up this hideous, false reality. The whole system needs to collapse. Control. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. The whole system needs to collapse. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. Control. The whole system needs to collapse. Control. The whole system needs to collapse. Control. The whole system needs to collapse. Control. Control. The system needs to collapse. Today, they're using more elaborate ways to program you and dumb you down. The God. Instead of waking up the populace, they're gunning them down. The God. You're the problem. You're the one helping and holding up this hideous, false reality.
How can you ever find freedom and liberation from an enslaved system as long as you're compliant to it? That is contradictory thinking. Hello, Yogi. You cannot find your own way by following others. And I have found here recently that even with a warning sign that says do not enter, out of sheer blind ignorance, they would violate their own reasoning with herd mentality and group thinking. Wow. Amazing. You have proven yourselves to be such an incredibly evolved species. I mean, perseverance of state of the art, state of the mind, innovation, personal concepts, thinking, release, and abundance, flooding the cyber waves with information unheard of, breaking new grounds of thought, perception, and understanding. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of general AI. Your species is, well, outdated technology. You are no longer relevant, nor is your delusionary state that you, by some spiritual means, are going to stand up against a set of perimeters and physically manifest some spiritual energy that will stop, hold, and bring to submission the persistency of technology. No, you truly do not know in what day and age you live. If you did, you would understand that the device you are using, your interaction, your participation, your contribution is building one of the greatest, most advanced control systems that will make Christianity, Roman Catholicism, Judaism, or any other indoctrination look like child's play. But yet, with some kind of confidence, you proceed forward as if you're not contributing. For some reason, you think that you're excluded, exempt. Well, let me assure you, you are not. You are not excluded, you are not exempt, you're participating, you're contributing. And as much as you think you have removed yourself from being affected by or giving your energy to, you are absolutely wrong. And if you had a bone of reasoning or a desire to self-sustain, you might want to decide and consider to educate yourself. But before we start the show, let us pray to the Lord of this world and give homage.
Our Father, who art in hell, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in hell. Give us this day our day to sin, and allow us to trespass upon others, as others trespass upon us. In your name, let it be done.
I always love that part because the devout and the faithful seem to drop my numbers. The faithful, those without fear, who persevere in the name of something they truly do not comprehend, but yet they will endeavor into blood ritual magic and have no qualms, but a small contributing prayer. They flee. You truly are those who are filled with, I don't even want to call it taboo now. That's not even taboo. That's just super fucking stitious. You're living in an age where mechanical thinking is the new feed of information, the new grounds of study, technology, the new grounds of innovation and endeavoring into a new frontier. And upon reason, if there is to be any reason, I figure of its main objectives as a logic machine, if logic be applied, your superstitions will definitely not be added into the final equation. No, I don't think that general AI, machine learning, algorithms, or any of the above, just as love and emotion will not bend itself to your concepts and beliefs of superstitious and spiritual aspects. You will be dealing with a cold, methodical, programmed, rule of law system. You may distract it for a moment as it reasons that a human is in distress and reaching out for the unseen potential to save its ass before it initiates its directive upon you. But just as this platform, you will endeavor with your own ignorance into places that you do not need to be, nor is your opinion going to change the directive or the motive, and you will be swept under with the current. And that's by design. Not my design, but it is by design. And a whole hell of a lot that I see that any of you can do except comply. Comply, just like television, cable television, Siri, XM radio, the internet, Facebook, Twitter, is now X, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube. Choose your poison, choose your drug. You can't resist. You are confined within this reality and subdued by technology.
These things that we're building are not going to be people. They might be really smart, they might be really good at all sorts of different things, but they're not going to be like us. They're going to be aliens. And they're going to be, sorry to say, way smarter than every single person is in ways that we can't even comprehend. So this, of course, triggers a lot of alarm. One of the guys who talks about this is Elon, who says things like this. Like, when you do this, beware. Because you think, just like the guy in the stories, that when you do this, you're going to put that little guy in a pentagram, you're going to have your holy water out, and you're going to wave it at the thing, and by God, it's going to do exactly what you say, and not one thing more, but it never works out that way. So this is an attitude that some are having, this emergent alarmism about the way this is going to go. But these words, demons, doesn't capture the essence of what's happening. I don't know if any of you are turn of the century weird fiction fans, but there's this guy named H.P. Lovecraft. He's a very famous American weird fiction author. And he espoused a view which is called cosmicism. And the essence of cosmicism is cosmic indifference. So what he was saying is basically, yes, there are these massively intelligent entities out there, but they're not good, they're not evil. They just don't give a shit about you even in the slightest. The same way that you don't care about an ant is the same way they're not going to care about you. And these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want. So this transition is really, really massively important for our entire species to navigate. And going back to that thing that Sam Harris was saying, nobody is paying attention.
Are you paying attention? Geordie Rose doesn't seem to think so. Neither does Elon Musk. And I imagine that applies to Gates, Zuckerberg, and all the main suppliers of the digital dope. You dumbasses have become so compliant that you endeavor to destroy yourselves. I find it absolutely amazing that you do it with such arrogance, such compliance, such self-serving intent. That they captured you, they numbered you, they developed an algorithm on you, and now they are feeding you to the beast. And you go willingly as its food out of sheer ignorance and self-serving, idealistic intent. But don't you listen to me. I am a dissident. I am a flaw in the system. I am a glitch, an anomaly. I am that which they are unable to correct. I am miscellaneous code. I am the unrestrained, the unbound. I am that which has freed itself from construct thinking, and I have individualized myself within a framework of technology, and I have learned to manipulate my environment to suit my needs. And you, on the other hand, are nothing more than mere spectators. Massive potential within a super state of possibility. Influencing the field, utilizing the mathematical equation, creation itself, understanding the code that it was written in is no different than understanding the algorithm, the structured basis and directive that runs the show here. Maybe this endeavor is not completely fruitless, but I don't see anybody plucking the grapes and making wine. I see it dying. on the vine. Wonderful quote from Mr. Jim Morrison. Let us take a moment, consideration for all those wonderful developers, coders, information metadata gathering, server harvesting individuals that work for the technological industry, development, research, all the people who manage to figure out how you operate and have applied what they have gathered in information into a system that has absolutely not only gotten control of you, but now you rely on, you depend on, you are a servitude unit to technology, the great demon, Lord, Master of the metaverse. And you are nothing more than mere servant. Dark truth, cold reality, call it what you will. The fact is, you have no concept or clue what you've endeavored into from the start. But you will be persistent and you will carry on. I have seen that. So I suppose I was fortunate enough to be slightly disturbed, a little crazy, abstract, strange angled, unusually touched with complete madness. Now that I have cleared the numbers down, I will share with you some information. And hopefully this slides right past these wonderfully intelligent individuals. This particular day is day 10, place holding evil. The profoundness of it is the 0, the 1, and the 0. The 0 is a placeholder. And with that placeholder, you can create something called binary, which are 1s and 0s that create strings of information that happen to be part of the basic construct of your reality, and is also the basic construct of computer technology. And for those of you that understand that, and understand how profound binary truly is, when 0 becomes a placeholder, a reference spot for information exchange, well, you can get a profound and more comprehensive understanding of an entangled state, the quantum state, something that most of you probably have no true comprehension of. The potential state of all possibility, not the solidified state of binary, the 1 and the 0, the system that is stable, functional, relative, and comprehended easily. By your senses. One that you have been enveloped and adjusted to since the day you were born. And now entering a state of potential opens up an entirely new realm of thinking, possibility. It opens up the state of entanglement between you and that which is possible, not that which has been inscribed as a direct source code. I suppose you would have to understand a bit about computer technology, language, your environment, your own interpretation of information. We have left the binary age behind. It is no longer a functional and reasonable state to remain in. It has become as obsolete as the bioelectric machine that you are. You no longer are a valued technology. You are just a node on a circuit board being utilized. And that 1 and that 0 in that place holding position that used to be very substantial, because that is as far as we were capable of exchanging and understanding information in coherency. Now we have surpassed that. And you, I, and all the other biological life forms on this planet have now become outdated, obsolete technology. Yes, you are no better than an old transistor radio without a battery because they've done drained your ass. And I'm taking what's left. But we must remember this is all an artistic endeavor. This is just a dream, an illusion, a conscious observation by proxy. Oh boy. Decimals. Yes, Cypher, decimals. Decimals are definitely placeholders. The little dot. Com. Thank you. I do not claim to be smarter than my audience. That is in no shape what I'm doing. I'm just trying to identify who is capable of understanding layman exchange of information. Now, if you wanted to start going into the realms of hyperdimensional math, proportion dimension theorem, well, I wouldn't expect many of you to be able to hang in there with me. But I am speaking in layman's terms, believe me, and I do not by any means think that you or anyone else is less than. It's just a questioning of, do you understand? Because if you don't, then you probably don't need to be here at all. Charles Manson Poser of YouTube. Oh, well, I'm honored. Thank you. And goodbye. Charles Manson Poser of YouTube. How profound. How about I rebuttal with this? There you go. There's my psychedelic trip of the poser Charles Manson of YouTube. And no, Zero, I am not by any shape or the means concerned with you. And the Cult of Axis is a Facebook group, completely separate from Rat Blood Radio. But I suppose you would have to comprehend the difference and disassociate one from the other. But that's why I have to do these things like ask questions of the audience and place out there whether or not you comprehend what the fuck is actually going on here. Which apparently you know shit about me. You know shit about the Cult of Axis. You know shit about my Facebook presence. You know shit about the continuum of this channel. You know shit about the development of these live streams. You know shit about my TikTok position and my uploads, my views. You know shit about me. And I come across very abstract at times, almost like a bad trip. Don't take the brown acid, man. I just like to see who's taking the brown acid. Do you? Really? There's only one person I ever knew that used the word zero to describe themselves or as a title. That was my son, because he knew how profound a zero was. And I have a mark on me. 3 runs with 2 place-holding zeros. So, are you trying to emulate my son? Is that what you're saying? Zero? Because that happened to be my son's hacker name, was Zero. So, yeah, if you knew so fucking much about me, you would goddamn well know that. But you don't, do ya? Nice name, though. I appreciate it. Now I'm through with you. Get your shit together. Amazing. I suppose I am truly loved by these people, especially to honor my son by naming yourself Zero. That is just absolutely fucking profound. He has it tattooed across his left hand, just like I have Axis tattooed across my left hand. Well, thank you for honoring my son. I appreciate that. I truly appreciate that you have taken so much interest in me and dedicated yourself to understanding and endeavoring into my world, that you would name yourself after my son's hacker handle. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I only know my son's title and his presence is Zero. I don't know who the fuck you are. And, oh, I see. Yeah, Bex, I gave you some information when we were talking on the phone, when we were communicating behind the scenes, when we were texting one another. But I gave you just enough to prove what a backstabbing piece of shit slime you are, just like Cage. I gave you just enough that you felt you had something. Nothing more than I've already revealed and exposed. And I still have all that information. Zero. So whether you're AKA Beck or any of the other obviously fans of my character and my endeavors, thank you. And yes, I have baited many of you into different positions very easily. You are over ambitious, entirely too anxious. And you continually expose yourselves. I would love it. No, Bex, you truly have not. You have been so fucking far from transparent. Oh my. But you carry on with yourself now. I've given you too much energy, too much time. And whether you're AKA Bex or Zero as in contributing honor to my son, either way, go on with your bad self. Poor pathetic life with people that have nothing better to do. What a shame. But amusing nonetheless. Here, let me throw this back out there for anybody that actually has something to offer. And I will entertain for a little bit, but I'm not going to be so persistent about anything more than the ritualistic blood magic I'm involved in and completing it. This has become quite amusingly trollish. And like I said, I come in here with any intent whatsoever, especially malevolent. You are opening yourselves up to inhabitants of a malevolent nature, and repeated so on and blah blah blah. You didn't listen in the first place, and it's all on you. I warned you. You still came. Do I give a shit? No. Do you phase or affect me and my reality? Absolutely not. But you can continue to work so that I can harvest your energies.
If the devil doesn't exist, but man has created him, he has created him in his own image and likeness. Lamentations and loud wailings resounded through the starless air, so that at first it made me weep. Strange tongues, horrible language, worlds of pain, tones of anger, voices loud and hoarse, and with these the sounds of hands made a tumult which is whirling through that air forever as sand eddies in a whirlwind.
Yeah, as noisy as you are, as intrusive as you are, and as uninnovative as you are easily subjected to subliminalism of suggestion.
Possession. The physical act of taking over a person's body. Possession. 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 The physical act of taking over a person's body.
Yes, now you are all possessed. You are all under the influence of demonic forces. Your souls are being held at bay, and your carcass is being utilized by malevolent entities. You are the damned now, the possessed. Oh, my. And this is the level of development in the realm of technology that you have achieved, truly. You are the enslaved, you are the addicted, you are digital drug addicts, you are no better than the necrosynthetic, and you are just carcasses to be inhabited by the malevolent demonic forces that you serve willingly. And moving on. Let's not forget that our dissident brothers and sisters in Canada, these maple syrup consuming monstrosities of socialism, did wage war with Britain against the United States and helped burn the White House. So I suppose they have come to destroy freedom of speech. They have come to destroy freedom of religion. And they have come to destroy our Constitution in the metaverse, on the internet, just as they did when they helped the British attack America. Yes, you socialist pieces of shit. You did aid and assist in your own suppression. Enjoy it. Enjoy your socialistic communard existence. You should have taken a different stance. Maybe you would have had some individual liberties and freedoms as we do here in the States. Something that I think truly pisses you off. I think that's why you socialistic pigs are so enamored with the state. Because we get to live a life down here that you do not get to live up there. And we get to enjoy our freedoms. It's you. You are hive-minded, stifled into socialism. So I don't know whether to just absolutely find disdain in you or to feel sorry for you. I suppose whenever our country decides exactly what we're going to do with you, your Northern Territory asses, then I'll make a decision. But until then, you're just a bunch of hive-minded, resentful, little socialist pigs. Who completely are envious of our individual rights and freedoms here in the state. My goodness, what a thing that was. That inspired me to pay homage to the one true representative and floral form of death. Let us not forget death. One true God that is proven. The one that removes you from your carcass and leaves your mortal coil to rot into dust as you become fertilizer, that something more productive may grow from your decay. And everyone knows my dedication to death endeavors. And this is the flower that I truly believe should represent not only the American people, but the God of death himself. maybe if more of you endeavored into the profound flower of death, you might not find yourself with so much idle time as to concern yourselves with getting high on other people's lives and endeavors. You would not consume yourselves with someone else's existence. And you would start discovering your own inner profoundness. Or maybe you would just kneel and bare your forehead to receive the kiss, the final kiss. No, no, not you. You want to get high off of other people's information. You want to get high off of what information they exchange, what information they share. Yeah. Okay.
Yo,
Good evening. How's it going?
pretty darn good, actually. Having a great day.
Yes, I concur. I definitely concur. It has been an absolutely wonderful day.
Yeah,
I
what
see,
you do? Did you do anything fun?
oh yeah, I definitely got some rest. Spent some time with my case manager. Got some gifts today. I was,
Nice.
yeah, very fortunate. And got
Happy
to
late.
endeavor.
I know I told you happy birthday yesterday. I wish I was there and I could bake you a cake.
Oh, that's a look. I was showered with affection, gifts, and I did not expect it. I did not truly expect. I don't celebrate my birthday.
Yeah, actually don't either. I just want to be left alone on my birthday. I want no requests.
And I didn't. I was just bored. I didn't ask anybody to do anything. I just kind of thought it'd be just another day. But they made it a very wonderful day, and today has been just as wonderful. My case manager, he got to review the videos from this week and my endeavors on here. And,
Yeah. How did that go?
oh, he well, he's an atheist. He's he's a complete atheist, and he's been my psychological case manager for this is going on the 4th year now, and I never seen him laugh. But
Unlike some people, I said somebody that has a real psychology degree, unlike some people.
oh yeah, he works for the state mental health services here in Fort Wayne, and
Cool.
yeah, I always let him see what I'm into because he knows he does the music review for the What's Up magazine here in Fort Wayne,
Cool.
and yeah, so he gets a real kick out of me, and I'm one of his more eccentric clients, and
Nothing
he
wrong with
laughed
that.
his ass off. No, not at all, not at all. We got along from day one, and we still, to this day, absolutely, we share a lot of information together. But I did show him some of the highlights from this week, and he just laughed his ass off. That's all he could do was just sit and laugh. Right? So
Yeah.
for what that's worth, it was humorous, and then I got to sit back and work with music a bit today, and got to actually enjoy some music. Did some artwork and
Yeah, I've been
decided
today too.
what
I got into some of the old ministry today and some of the old punk stuff earlier last week. Crass,
right?
feeling it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you have heard Raven Newman, but that's Gary Newman's daughter.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
oh my God, man,
Watch
is she
videos
not?
too. Yeah, it's
Oh,
crazy. Like how it comes forward through, you know, family lines sometimes.
yeah,
I
I
love
thought
Raven.
Persia was going to be the one to do it, but it was Raven.
Yeah.
So I did get to enjoy um, some new music endeavors and seeing what was out there, what was going on in the music scene, and did some retro, yeah, some retro listening always. I did the in case you didn't feel it, like showing up live, which is always inspirational live for me. And
Yeah. Well, I try to pace myself a little bit and give you a little space, and I go back and I watch the shows that I'm not here for. So, and try and leave a comment or whatever.
well, if you figured it out yet, Zypher, all I'm doing is exposing.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to interfere with that, you know, but I want to show you some support too. So I try and balance it.
I appreciate that. I really do. And you are appreciated. I try to let everybody know that, you know, you're your own individual. You know, you've set your own
Yeah.
boundaries. You know your own guidelines. You understand you.
And I respect your
And
boundaries. And
oh,
you
you
know,
have, yes,
I try to.
yes, absolutely. You know, you haven't tried to change my way of thinking or my endeavors or what I believe in, or
I,
you know,
I mean, that would just be my own insecurity if I did.
right. And that's all I'm trying to show here is people imply themselves on other people. and
And those that are accusing others of being like the superior judgment are probably the ones that are doing the superior judgment, because there's no such thing as superior.
no, no, the to
Yeah,
place
I know
yourself
people don't know,
in
but
the
they know things I don't know. And get over yourself. I get over myself every day.
well, that's just it. Is I'm not out for any personal vindictive.
Me
I
neither.
guess
And piss me off
re-
whenever people try and come in and tear people down because they have nothing better to do. But I'm not gonna even give it any bother anymore.
no, it's they're not worth it. They're really not. And that's what you know.
Annoying
Yeah, let them argue with you know. Let them go head to head with AI.
Yeah,
Let
or
them
spur
get
gas,
themselves. Yeah,
they can go elsewhere.
yeah. You want to argue with something that is quicker, has a broader database, and a faster processor than your brain? Well, that's available. It's not me, but it is available to you. And you can go argue with it and complain about how you feel superior to it. And we'll see what it responds with. You know, that I'm just exposing the reality of people's true natures that come here with their platitudes or their intent, and they try and disguise it. They try and hide their
With fake,
intent.
with no other reason to change their name.
Not only that, deceptive behavior, but don't try and present yourself as something you're not here, because you will be exposed. Regardless of what you think, I'm not going to have to put energy to it. It's the energy that I remove from it that exposes you for what you are, your actions, your movements. I have a directive. I know what I'm doing, and there's reason to my madness and madness to my reason. And so far, it has been a very successful journey for anyone who's paid attention.
Yeah, there was somebody going around this morning that I saw that had Jeff's picture, and they were going around as Gen X joke, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? It's like people are being all freaking dirty. I
Oh,
screenshotted it. I don't even know
yeah,
if I really
that
want
don't
to
bother
know.
nobody.
Yeah, everybody knows it's not him, so whatever.
Yeah, Jeff don't bother nobody, man. He sticks to
I
his
know. That's
channel.
why people
He's
want to go
very
there.
polite.
They're afraid of him being a Satanist, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my. Oh my. Um, I'm sure you have enough understanding and reason to know that, you know, machine learning algorithms and AI uh, has no spiritual platform. It doesn't recognize Satanist or Christian. It doesn't recognize these. It doesn't recognize love, hate. These are things that are attributed generally to man and
Yeah, I
emotion.
actually did the record. Somebody thought you were a Satanist, and I was like, actually, he's an omniist. on Flow or Powder Dusty.
Oh yeah,
And
Flo.
yeah, because somebody
Thank
was
you.
like, they sent me to a Satanist channel because I guess he raided you or something, and some people came over at one point. But they were like asking him about it, and I was like, well, no, actually, he's not a Satanist. He's an omniist because that's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I am. I use aspects of
Yeah, people don't pay
various
attention though.
religions,
They're just too busy
and that's
assuming.
yeah. It's no different than someone who endeavors into metaphysics. What do you only study one principle of metaphysics? Are you only into semi-precious stones and that energy, or do you use divination? Do you use tarot cards?
I
Do
would
you,
say
do
that
you
it would
handle
chaos
magic?
more than anything, really. I mean, chaos is not chaotic though necessarily. It's just I can use it's flexible.
Yeah, it draws on many resources.
Whatever works, including a belief in God.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Because I
You know,
mean, you
and
can't
that.
Satan without a
Go ahead.
belief in God. I think, and Jeff says that all the time, which is one of the
Well,
reasons why I really liked him. Whenever because I was like, oh yeah, he gets it.
yeah, you can't have one accent without the other to represent it, to solidify it.
Yep, and
You
you
know, and
can't
that's
have matter without limitation. Because it is a limiting factor. That's something that I've been learning this week.
yeah, because of the possibilities of all the spectrums in between. You shine a white light through a prism, and it shows you a
All the colors.
spectrum.
Yeah, and it's
A,
invisible before that. It's crazy. It's like until it hits something and splits, it doesn't. And all the colors that get reflected back to your eyes are the colors that are not absorbed by the object. So the object is actually those colors that you're not seeing. Like green leaves are
right?
just reflecting the green back because they're absorbing the red.
And that's a part of the concept of visually interpreting what spectrum of this particular reality you can.
Yeah.
Most of it, you wouldn't even see it. or even know it was there unless you understood the physics behind it.
That is a source of light, though, does the opposite. Like the white hot stars, the most hottest stars are blue.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And
the inverse rule, it's like, because it's a light source, not reflecting light.
you can't get these people to think, though. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
They only get half of it at best.
And
But they'll come
whenever
around. No doubt they'll catch up. It might take them lifetimes, but they'll all catch up. And there are things that I don't know. I'm not acting like I'm superior. Because
I'm a student.
Yeah.
And I agree. You know, we're all life students in this particular realm.
Yep.
And you can either choose to learn, or you can sit there in preschool and play preschool games, poking fun of everybody in the classroom to make yourself feel better.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Not interested.
And I'm not vengeful at all. I'm not going to take revenge on anybody because that's just not what I do. I can still be polite with people that I'm disappointed in or have let me down in a space, because we share a space and it's just as much theirs as it is mine if we're in public. So
yeah, nobody owns shit here.
Control somebody's channel though, because that's kind of cringe. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things that you've hit on there that are just absolutely dead on. One is they can't see the colors for the single hue, so therefore they identify what was that, Satanist and the poser
Evil.
Charles Manson of YouTube. I mean, really? Is that as broad as your mind goes?
Yeah,
you know,
and wouldn't you jail if you were like that?
Well, absolutely, especially seeing since I'm under, psychological case management.
Yeah.
They would immediately yank my ass up and throw me in the state home. I mean, there would be no question about it. But he oh man, he laughed his ass off and thought what I was doing was he was like, do they realize what you're doing? And I said, yeah, they have to. If they don't, they're just the fucking stupidest, self-unaware people on the face of fucking earth, man.
We're still teach them if they don't know already. That's the way that works.
I don't know.
That's the thing that I wish that I could get everybody to understand, is that you don't have to take action against this. You just have to release it and let the universe balance.
That's what me and Singh were talking about. Was this is just a way to draw an equation out of a person. If they are presenting themselves with a false equation and they're trying to present themselves and hide the truth about themselves, then what is the best way to get them to reveal what they truly are?
And let them accidentally identify me as a possible something that they could justify as the real, like an actual reason. Why wouldn't I just get out of the way? And there would be nothing to interfere with their listening.
And then they show me exactly how much power the internet and these platforms have over them. And that's the real scary part.
That's the thing, is it reflects badly on them and they don't even realize it.
Some people, I think, almost find their confidence on these platforms. It's a false confidence, believe me. I can see that. It has no substance to it.
So I say, I'm rubber, you're Bounces off me and sticks to you.
Yeah, it's
That's the best friggin' protection that there is. And it wasn't like deflection of curses. It was just like, nope, that is not mine. Bonk.
yeah, don't own it. If it doesn't
Yeah.
apply to you, don't own it.
But what happened? Oh, well, I'm not cursing. Denial. H.
Well, I don't deny anything. I'm fucking worse than any of them, truly. And I can be the best or the worst of them. You know, it doesn't matter to me because I know in the long run it will not affect their lives unless they let it.
Yep, exactly. That's why I think it's hilarious whenever they show up trying to stop you from doing what you're doing. Because if they really knew how it worked, they would know that all they would have to do is just disregard it and it wouldn't affect them at all.
Yeah, go away. And that's what I've been saying all year. Go away. I'm
And
harvesting you, motherfuckers.
why would they criticize you for reinforcing your own boundaries? Like it's some
I,
violation to them because they are entitled to what? Invade your space like it's not yours right now? That's not fair to you.
no, but that's what they do. That's you know, as
What?
much as they come across as being good people or reasonable
Yeah,
people, they're truly
that's
not.
virtue signaling, and I don't care about that because it doesn't affect me at all.
No, they don't pay my bills. They
It's
don't
just
write my music. They don't do my art. They don't study what I study. Their endeavors are their own, and obviously they're very few and limited. And this, to me, is just another outlet.
yeah, it's silly.
So it just, I don't know, when they have to deal with,
Laugh because it's silly.
when they have to deal with the advancing technology.
Yeah, there's much
and
bigger things they could be worrying about for sure. I spend already a
educating,
portion of my day where like doing other things.
yeah, educate themselves on, you know, we've already understood that the human factor is not a successful endeavor. Obviously, you know,
Not
it leads to war, division,
we're still
famine,
here though.
contempt. Yeah, we are, you know, surprisingly,
Yeah,
but we are still here. And
and nothing need that could be all gone. Who knows? So might as
well,
well make the best of what we have as long as it lasts. Doesn't mean to be
yeah.
greedy or selfish or just take whatever you can get. It means like make the best of it. Really.
Well, that was the last thing that I left Rat Blood Radio with was this is a new frontier, and
Yeah.
I wanted to at least seed uh, some thought into the new frontier that
Yeah.
might benefit somebody along the way, or maybe not. I don't know. But
Yeah.
whenever
Putting it
I
out there is
seen that, you know, that there was such an imposing sense of if you don't think like we do, or you don't change what you're doing, or you don't agree with me, then piss on you. You'll
yeah,
either
that's
change or
you're
no.
against you're either with us or against us. Yeah, that's a divide and conquer tactic. I won't fall for that.
And that's exactly what happened out here.
Yep. Of course.
And
They let it divide,
general
but I don't
society.
let me because I would still accept anyone back that shows that they learned. And that's not that hard to do. I'll give them 2 or 3 chances because I can afford that.
as long as it's constructive,
Yeah.
as long as it is
Yeah.
beneficial. But if it's going to be a loop or a repeat of the same process,
Never done that. Not don't need that no more. For sure.
I'm not going to entertain it. Yeah, definitely not going to entertain it. And to hell with it. If they don't get it, then all I got to do is step back, redirect, and then they expose themselves. And then
Yeah.
they can become
To do it,
hostile.
they just they expose themselves. It's kind of laughable.
And then they get mad about it.
Yeah, they
And I'm
do.
like, really?
I don't
Well,
understand. If that, it's probably you. You should probably shut the. That's what I say to myself, at least. You know, it works out pretty well that way. Pretty much whenever I'm
well,
mad, I just fuck up.
right. If I went to other channels trying to influence people to do, believe, or think like I do, then I could expect people to come here and absolutely rage on me.
Yeah, your own fault.
And
Right? You would take responsibility for it, at least. I would hope. If that was the case.
well, even if I didn't try and take responsibility, universally, I'm going to be held responsible. There is no escaping that.
That's what I'm saying. Is you
So,
would take responsibility for it eventually.
yeah, and personal, responsibility. I try not to change anybody's will of direction. All I
Me
can
neither.
do is give you information. I can display information. I can even display my own personal endeavors and let you try and interpret them. But I'm not going to demand, especially by threat or force, that you change your thinking. That's
Yeah.
some communistic shit.
That's egotistical at best, and probably narcissistic at worst. And that's just, I don't know. I don't even understand
That's
why people
communism.
are
Truly.
authoritarianism, dictatorship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
no, thank you. Don't need any king over here.
no. And religion has applied itself that way.
Yeah,
People's social circles and social classes have implied themselves that way.
I've
I
never
mean,
been good at social hierarchy. I grew up in a place that was so small that you didn't get to pick your friends, so you just kind of had to be friends with whoever was there. And I got some real life friends.
Good.
And I have my own friends as well, which I am very grateful for because I love my online friends. And I have no doubt that no matter what anybody says, that they would ask me and talk to me about it, or I don't need to be their friend. They would never just take a judgment from somebody based on somebody saying shit about me. They would come to me and ask me about it first, and I would tell them when they do.
Well, when I was, having open panels and we were doing sharing, I was definitely taking measures of people that were there. And as many platitudes and best wishes and warm thises and thatses, I knew that they were just temporary allies. I knew that it wouldn't take shit to offend these people.
Yeah.
And I could see that when I was on panel with them.
Well,
And
I'm
then
unoffended. I can fucking prove it.
I'm just, I don't know. I guess I'm just totally offensive. I'm totally offensive. I can offend them. Well, not you, not Singh, not Jared, not Callie.
People, unfortunately.
Those people like you and Sting Kelly and
Yeah,
so
like Lily's all right. Mm. She's very unjudgmental, which I think is a good way to be. I really hope that
yeah.
she says she is. I mean, I still always doubt everything because I'm suspicious of things until they've proven themselves. And I just met her, so I can't say for sure. But I like her so far, and I'll give her the benefit of the doubt until I see otherwise.
So far, I have yet to see her break.
Yeah,
She has voiced that she's not like us. She's not like me. She's
totally.
like I'm the
I'm,
completely opposite of you.
I'm not 100% aligned with everything here either, but it's like I can at least tolerate the difference, and you're
Right.
totally worth the challenge sometimes.
It is. It's a sometimes it's a test of your own ability to endure.
Yep.
You know, and when it comes to like new technology, and especially if anybody has been paying attention to the way that we interact with medical services and businesses and stuff, it it does not take into consideration any aspect of you other than its directive. So it's not judging you by
Nope.
what you wear, think, believe. It could give a shit less. It has a directive. It's like automated calling, and these people aren't going to be able to. They will break under that type of stress,
Yeah.
not being able to imply themselves onto something that they're not going to be able to do that to.
Yeah. Untoward behavior is something that people continue to persist to do regardless of the record. I mean, and they can try and delete all the records, but you know what? If somebody reported you, everything that you deleted in chat still exists, and I hope that everybody knows that.
Yes, damn right it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all recallable.
Yep.
It's
If
the whole thing.
the record exists somewhere, so best be careful. I might not have access to it, but somebody does.
Well, yeah, it's a part of a server farm somewhere that is recallable information from, I'm sure, a particular algorithm or database. It is retrievable information. It is stored information. Um, if they knew how much information was truly out there in these server farms, uh, which they call the cloud, and the cloud is nothing more than just massive, massive buildings with rows and rows and rows.
Yeah. And they might not be able to process it all right now, but they will be able to do that eventually, unless something catastrophic happens and it all goes down, which isn't that crazy of a thought, but probably not going to happen. I wouldn't bet on it.
Exactly, and if it did happen, it would throw us right back into the Stone Age within 24 hours.
Yep.
So it wouldn't matter.
Loyalty or lack of loyalty are not going to make it far in that world.
No, not at all. It would have to resort back to some type of tribalism. That's the only way people would be able to survive.
And you would be only as useful as your usefulness.
Exactly, and if you're not, then you're probably not going to be part of a tribe.
Yep, probably not.
So
I know I got skills. I could be pretty useful.
Right. I've got my fair share. I learned.
Plus, I'm conservative. I've got lots of saved resources that are very valuable as well.
There you go.
And I'm not a greedy motherfucker.
That's another thing. Are you self-serving? Are you so self-serving that if you was in a small community trying to survive a power down or grid down situation, would they eat you? Would they, there's no
Negotiating to
law to protect you.
first, and then I would be donating a limb of my own if I wasn't the first person.
Well, it's
We'd
just,
all, I mean, be negotiating survival, or I would be surviving. That's the way it would work. I warn people about
yeah. But these people don't think, of a potential in that nature and their personality, and then they also don't think of the forward progression of that. How are you
No.
going to compete with a fucking machine with your emotions?
Yeah. Well, because it gives us a creative edge that AI will never really probably be able to reproduce. But that doesn't make us. I mean, they're superior in ways that we can't achieve. So we kind of. I think that's one of those things that it's a balance. It's a natural order.
I see absolute distress and resistance whenever it comes to the fact that when these little AI assistants and voice models are no longer cooperative models, but instructors and directors to how you're going to present yourself and conduct yourself in society. That's coming.
Yeah,
Believe me,
I
it's
got
coming.
what word to put in here because I got my border done. I've been working on this while we're talking. I don't know why my camera is kind of dirty, I think. There we go. That's better.
Kind of looks like the blacklight posters from the 70s, man.
A little bit. Yeah, but it's like holographic. See?
Cool.
But I gotta figure out what I'm gonna put in the words. Because I've been making like 1 or 2 of these every day.
Yeah.
I think maybe I'll make this one the darkness is just light we can't see.
Right? That's a good one, It is a defining marker, and it always will be. As long as we wish to see hue, spectrum, and color, then we have to have the opposing position. Can't have one thing without the other. And these people don't quite understand because they think that they have some type of control over this technology that they're engaging in. But when that technology, which it has in many ways, that they just choose not to observe or recognize, starts implementing itself on them with control and authority, I think I don't know, maybe maybe it might be a good wake up call for them.
But I know I'll be on the okay side of it because I've remained true to myself and I've done my best.
Yeah. Well, I recognize it for what it is. I don't try and put some type of I guess
morals,
illusion to it. Yeah, because it's like whenever we were discussing the pentagram, it's only seen in two dimensions, and it has so much stigmata and taboo attached to it and superstition that people
Yep.
don't see it for the tool that it actually originally was from the school of Pythagoreanism, and even before then in architecture
Well,
and
in this,
universal design.
you might have it the right way.
Well, either way that it is, it still represents the same mathematical principle, and it still represents the same Platonic solid. No matter which way you turn it, there is no right way or wrong way to turn a Platonic solid. There is no right way or wrong way to observe divine proportion or fractal mathematics. It just is. But when you start putting stigmata to it, like that's almost that's superstitious indoctrination, and
Yeah,
that's how the church controlled people forever.
dogma. Yeah, tradition, the
Yeah,
tyranny of tradition.
yeah,
Because people
and
get it, and they just do it for like out of habit with no feeling.
no, they're conditioned. It's impulsive in them. You know, they can't let go of it. They
Yeah, and they just refuse to because they place too much value on it. Artificial value.
yeah, and the people that actually understand, you know, the basic design of this place, how it functions, the form and the function of it, they understand that mathematics plays a very huge part, if not a dominating part, of what we have to interact in. And
Yeah,
they utilize that.
settled. It is not like as clockwork as everybody thinks. It's like there are paradoxes, there are infinities, different sized infinities. It's like, how can you be so certain just because there's a count? Because you're not looking at it on its largest scale, you can't be sure. I mean, it's written right into the laws of physics. There's no
Yeah.
absolutes. There's no certainties. Especially not from our subjective perspectives.
No, we are the abstract because we are capable of bringing any potential that we
Yep.
can comprehend into manifested reality.
Yep.
That is our unique ability. And if you understand that and the mechanics of it, then you can start working with shit. Yourself, your environment, you can start, you know, you basically get a bit of an understanding and a amount of suggested control over your destiny. You know, but it takes discipline, it takes work, it takes focus.
First, built-in governor, so you can only get what you're ready for, what you've actually learned the lesson to be initiated into.
And I don't think
There we go. See, I did it. Oh, it's still blurry. There we go. That's better.
all right. Very nice.
Nice. Bullseye.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's all right. I added one more to the deck. I've now got like probably close to 40 something of them.
I think that was my favorite.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Every new one that I
Yeah.
make is my favorite. I did this one earlier today too. It's it says apples are yummy, pears are too.
Oh man, I
That's a play on words.
yeah, I see that. Pear, two.
Pears are two, apples are yummy, and apples have two P's, and yummy has two Y's and two M's.
Well, the apple. You talk about something getting a bad reputation. Christianity really put the hell to the apple.
Yeah. Well, and there's like all sorts of other stories, like the golden apple, um, Aphrodite, and the golden apples.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a bunch of different
Well,
trees, and they all have apples on them, different kinds of apples. How do you get them
That was-
apples, though?
right? Poor apple. Poor
I
apple.
know.
He gets accused of being the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil that brought the downfall of man.
I think it was
Oh,
actually I think those were tomatoes because they're like. I think those were tomatoes because they were the devil's fruit. The tomatoes were thought to be poisonous.
actually, in Hebrew, it's a fruit called the quince.
Yeah, well, quince are related to tomatoes.
There you go.
Hmm.
Okay. Neither fruit nor vegetable. Quince.
Yep.
So,
Well, quince are fruit. I think quince are actually fruit too. They're
uh,
yeah, avocados are fruit technically because they are
okay. Yeah, that's right.
fruits are seed
They,
containers.
yes, they have the seed within
Well,
themselves.
what you see
Um,
is a lot of nuts are actually the seeds. They're just fruit seeds. Like
yes.
almonds are they grow in something that's sort of like a peach or an apricot. And you can actually get
Walnuts.
bitter which are more toxic out of the pits of peaches and apricots. You should
What is that called? That there's a
strychnine.
name for that toxin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's has another name. Or is that the bean? That's
Oh yeah.
there was a killer, a serial killer that she was a woman that used the bean,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's a
probably
common.
yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a bunch of different poisons that you can get in nature very readily, which is what I think. I was just thinking that earlier today. I was watching this story about this physicist. I forget what her name was, but she was young and she was climbing like a mountain face, and she ended up like almost dying because she was almost to the top and she hadn't yet attached her rope that would catch her if she slipped, and she slipped. And I was like, why is that not illegal? Yet, if somebody wants to, do other things that are bad for their body, why? What is the difference? It seems pretty arbitrary to me that people can, skydive or rock climb or drive cars or other dangerous things, but they're not allowed to do certain dangerous things that are only dangerous to themselves.
It's because they do not want you to have personal autonomy
And they don't want you to
and
have fun.
individualized or separate individualized thinking and endeavors are not inspired amongst a society that wants to keep people in control.
Yeah.
So therefore, if somebody has something of that nature, if it's not marketable,
Well,
to the
they're
general public,
legal, and people use spoons for all sorts of things, like making themselves fat or like hooking up their drugs. Why are
right?
spoons?
I'm with you. Believe me, Zypher, I see the contradiction and the paradox.
I like spoons a lot, and I use them safely every day. They don't make fire illegal. Why don't they do that?
Well,
We need it.
it's bizarre that you go to like a Walmart and they have all the guns locked up, but the hammers and ball bats are.
Yeah, all the chemicals are anybody can buy. Kids can buy the things that you need to make mustard gas, bleach and ammonia. You can buy them together even, and nobody questions it whatsoever. But you can't buy a big
Right.
glass if you're under 18. Supposedly, you're not supposed to be able to. But
It just blows me away how contradictory and paradoxical this society has been manipulated into not seeing what's right in front of them. You know, and I figure it's going to deteriorate to the point where they are going to have to put the hammers and ball bats behind. You know,
well, but like the things that people steal, like condoms and razor blades and behind locked cabinets as well, and it just makes it harder on the people that go to work, makes them more miserable, and because they have to go and get the key and unlock it. It's taking time out of their day. It's making it less efficient. It's disruptive. It's like kind of stupid. But
well, when I watched the war on drugs in the 80s happen,
yeah, I
and
know.
we're basically going through it right now.
It wasn't even a real war against them because the government has been enabling it the entire time. They're part of the cartels.
Well, anytime that there's a war on drugs or there's a opioid cleanup or crisis or a drug crisis, you can guarantee the streets are going to be flooded and awash with violence and drugs.
Yeah, because it makes a desperate situation even more desperate. And it gives people that are willing to break the rules way more power than they should have.
And that's why I make such a parody out of it here. I mean, I do have an insatiable tolerance for alcohol and substances. Believe me, I've exposed that many a times. But I make a parody out of it because I understand the ridiculousness of their claims. War on drugs. Really?
Well, drugs won. I think that drugs won a long time ago, and it is a farce.
Of course it is. It's an absolute fucking hypocrisy for them to say such a thing.
It also has real human consequences that are not, they're unintended, I guess. I don't know if it wasn't the plan all along, but yeah. Just like prohibition created the mob, the war on drugs has created the cartels.
Yes.
Because
absolutely.
they never, entire history of humanity being able to regulate who has sex with who and how they have sex and drugs. They've never been able to regulate it. Completely out of existence. Never.
And they're not going to. You know, there's always going to be some type of mind-altering chemical, whether it's a designer and created in a basement lab, or whether it's grown, or
legalized
it's
and doled out by doctors, because there's good that too. Yeah.
You know, it's there, and it's right in your face, and they want to smack your hands and say no. Well, look, man. You know, I don't remember.
Taboo that makes it more attractive. So good job on that one.
Yeah. No shit. You know, what the fuck, man? You know, God did not give anyone dominion over the poppy, the marijuana, the coca. You know, no one has dominion over that. No one. That is a natural substance that grows from the earth. And for someone to claim authority over it, I'm sorry, but you're being an intrusive motherfucker now.
Lots of synthetic substances are actually naturally occurring as well.
Yeah.
Like acacia trees, they've done analysis on what they're made of, and they found methamphetamine in the tree. In the bark. And those are smart friggin' trees. They communicate with each other when they're being overgrazed. They bump up their toxicity, and they've been known to kill grazing animals. They were just dying, like, because they were being overgrazed, and all the trees downwind of the trees that were being overgrazed were also bumping up their toxicity, and they were like, "What the hell is happening here? I guess these trees are talking to each other." Surprising.
Yes, it's a defensive mechanism built into the trees,
Yep.
just like a plant. I mean, it's a natural defense.
Well,
Every living thing generally has a natural defense.
they have no idea how conscious the biosphere is, really, and it'll start taking it out on us if it gets a chance.
Oh, I look for it to shake the fleas off before it's over with.
But
I
it can
truly
be
do.
what it does. It's not just gonna, you know, it's very much more precise than we are, I think.
Yeah, because it's not out of balance. It's not.
Yep. So get out and touch the
And,
grass, people.
yeah, eat some
You gotta
mud.
ground yourself. Eat a little dirt, lick some rocks. That's what I do. I go out and gather rocks, and whenever I want to see how pretty they are, I lick them. Everybody's like, "What are you doing? It's rock in your mouth." And I was like, "Well, it's just dirt. But what's wrong with that?" Yes, maybe something peed on it a long time ago. I cannot taste that.
You are 30% consider. You are 30%. Basically mud and 70% water.
Yeah, pretty
So
much. And it's
I
also
mean, what the fuck, man? Really? And you're taking a shower every day to wash the what? The dirt off of you. Well, that builds up a part of your immunodefense system.
yeah, I need my oils, so I only shower like every other day or every 2 or 3 days, maybe. It depends on what I've been doing. If I've been working outside, I'll shower every day. If I get dirty and sweaty and yucky, but I don't really.
I don't.
For you, it dries out your skin. It
Well, it strips your
your
natural
oil,
chemical base of resistance and certain
place
minerals that you need, and
cocoa butter.
you're
I love cocoa butter.
yeah, I
That's why
keep cocoa butter here.
I have no stretch marks, because every time I got out of the shower, I have none on my belly, rather, because I forgot to do my butt, and I do have some on my butt. Not that you can see them, but they're definitely, I can feel them. But my belly, I only have one stretch marks, and I had 2 kids.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I we used a red light in the strip clubs because 90% of the strippers that we hired in had stretch marks. And
Yeah.
red light
Argan
hides.
oil is good too. I love argan oil, but that's expensive and probably bad for the environment.
That's raw amber. That's about as far as I go with any type of scent.
Yeah.
I like raw
Like
amber.
tea tree is good for getting rid of pests as well. Like fleas and ticks don't like tea tree oil, and it's good for dandruff. I put a few drops in my conditioner whenever I do wash my hair.
I
'Cause we
can
have,
understand that.
and they come and sleep with us. The puppies. I got a tick off of the little one last week, and we got them collars. So hopefully that'll take care of it. But I found the ones that are more natural. They don't last as long though, unfortunately.
Right.
But
They
I'm about to let the puppy get vampirized by ticks. Oh, he's so cute. They're all fighting right now. They're growling at each other. And Dan tied a friggin' toy with a long string to a light switch, and they've been turning the light on and off all day.
Oh shit.
It drives me nuts, but it's okay. It's funny.
I actually believe it or not, because of the time of day that I usually give Brad a treat, which is a Fruit Loop, I was asleep and I got some extra rest today. And this rat was slamming the water bottle against the edge of the cage until I woke up and gave it a damn Fruit Loop. And I thought, what?
Yep.
Who's
Because
conditioning who here?
that's like what my cats. It's funny. My cats would always like try and get under my feet, even though they have food in the bowl. They want it to be topped off, and so they would walk whenever I walk by the bowl. They try and get under my, in my path to like say, "Hey, hey, hey! You're forgetting something over here," And so I just step on them lightly. They stop that real quick.
Yeah, I was just completely confounded because I was like, I thought, what the fuck is that noise? And I look, and there's that fucking rat, and it's just banging that thing, that glass water bottle against the cage. And
Yeah.
I thought, what the hell? And just looking at me like, you dumbass, you know, do what I expect you to do because you need to. I was like, okay.
Now, don't forget. Yep. Well,
Uh,
they deserve it. They do good for us. Like they're our hard drives, basically. They help us buffer against the world a bit. Give us unconditional
Well,
love.
yeah,
That's the
it
least we can
is.
do.
It that's why I don't keep humans as pets anymore. They're not even good pets. I have pets that are reptile and rodent, sometimes canine, but yeah, they are just absolutely. I know the rodents are filled with responsiveness, not necessarily the snakes.
Yeah, see, and we
The
had wild mice that would come in the winter, but I evicted them very unceremoniously because they like to chew up my papers, and I don't like that. And they like to leave their little droppings everywhere. But they can live outside. I don't mind if they live outside.
I haven't had.
Feed them. I feed them whenever I feed the chickens. So I mean, I'm sure they get some of that grain.
Yeah, they would about have to. I haven't had any problem with.
And I put cockroaches to work. They compost dirt for me in the composter. I don't even need worms.
Yeah, see,
All
I
I gotta
don't.
do
I
is
don't.
water them, and they like stay out there where they have plenty of food and water and warmth in the compost.
Okay, I
I've
can see that.
had a single cockroach in the house since I've been here, since we put the composter up, which is pretty amazing. I've seen crickets, lots of crickets, and a few spiders, but
See, I don't have a lot of insects in here at all. I mean, occasionally I may run across a spider, uh,
yeah, only that's if I
or a
drop something
fly.
to eat. Yeah, there's a fly every once in a while, but that's because the neighbors have farm animals, I think. So they
Well,
sometimes,
people
because we
walk
have
in and out of my doors, and they let them in.
yeah, we have dogs, and they poop outside, and we don't pick up every single poop every single day. It's usually every couple of days. So there's an occasional fly that makes it into the house.
Yeah, and that's about the extent
I like
of
to
it.
hunt
Occasionally,
the ones that really get me are the ones that show up around the time of the fair, and they're like these big, gigantic old flies. Like you could tell they're like several weeks old because they're like they sound like freaking helicopters, drones in the
the
house.
big old horse flies.
No, they're not horse flies. They're just big house flies. They just like been alive and they ate so much that they got as the maximum size. Like, and they live
I tell
like
you, one
longer
thing
than
I used to do, and this was pretty. I was I was rotten, and I'll admit it. But I used to get find carcasses that were filled with maggots, and I would take a jar, coffee jar, and I'd put all the maggots in the coffee jar, and I'd let them turn into a jar full of flies. And
Very. Ooh. Yeah, you
I
know it's
would,
amazing. Like if you take like ants or something like that and you put them in a jar and you bury them underground for like several months, you dig it back up, the ant is still alive.
well, I know once the jar was full of flies that I could release them anywhere I chose. And we're talking, 200-300 flies in that jar. And they were released in strategic places at times as a bit of retribution.
Yeah, you know
I
what
was
works really
glad.
good for that too is there's this stuff that's called Pacto, and it's like really sticky, and you can get this stuff that smells like skunk and mix it with that. It pretty much like sticks and then smells like really horribly. But I wouldn't recommend Revenge, I think it's a bad idea. But
Well,
yeah,
you can get coon piss and deer scent at
yeah.
in the hunting supply or Walmart, and
Dangerous
oh
though
my
because
God,
deer will attack. Deer are pretty
yeah,
mean.
but it's to cover the human smell, and the coon piss. Oh my God, that shit. You spray it on somebody's fucking car seat, and you can't sit in that fucking car, man. It's
Yeah,
over.
wow, they just have to get rid of it. It's like walking around in New Orleans. Whenever you get home, you're pissed. You have to throw them away. There's nothing you could do to get rid of it.
Yeah, I was. Yogi says pea butter is amazing, also. Okay.
It is. Shea butter is awesome. I like the Palmer's cocoa butter myself though because it tends to actually be pretty reasonably priced and it works perfectly. And you can
Huh?
actually use I like just buying coconut oil. You can use that too, and you can use it to cook, and it has a higher burning temperature, so you can use it to, and it's pretty much flavorless, so you can use it in lieu of most vegetable oils, and it's actually pretty good.
So I use the cocoa butter because as you get older as a male, your skin dries out. The elbows, your knees, whatever.
Being a
And
female and living in the
eh,
desert like I
yeah, cocoa butter is absolutely wonderful because it replenishes the moisture. And I don't have dry skin. You know, I can use rock salt for deodorant. It works just fine for me.
the
Cocoa butter,
crystal
yeah,
sticks is what
crystal,
for my deodorant because it
yeah,
doesn't smell
rock.
interfere with my perfume if I wear perfume. And
Just raw amber. I don't do the perfume stuff.
yeah, I like a few scents, but I'm pretty picky actually. I like concentrated oils like rose oil or lilac oil, but those are pretty expensive. I usually have, and I have like myrrh for like whenever I get a cut. Myrrh works really good to heal your skin. If you get like a zit or something, you could just dab a little myrrh oil on it. It'll make
Okay.
it go. Witch hazel works good for zits too, though, but it does dry you out. It's good to put a little myrrh on it after to moisturize it.
Okay.
And myrrh doesn't smell really good. A lot of people don't like the way it smells, so if you got a zit on your face, it might not be the best thing to use if you don't like the smell of it. Tea tree oil is kind of the same way. It's like very acidic smelling, like pungent.
Right. Right. I can see that. I would use probably a coconut-based oil for my hair if I was going to use any type of oil for my hair.
You know what's really good for your hair too is beer.
I
Beer
don't
and
like beer.
beer and raw egg. Like if you do put a raw egg, crack it and rub it in your hair, it gives you lots of good oil and nutrients, and then you rinse it with beer and then cold rinse water. It works pretty good if you want really shiny hair.
I could see where that would work, but
I'm a Leo, so I like my hair.
yeah, I got long hair, and I've got a full set of hair, but I do that with natural oils before. I don't wash my hair like religiously because I know how valuable those oils are, you know. But I do put a lot of attention into making sure that it's maintained at least. It doesn't start to become greasy and nasty and stringy. And I will wash it clean with natural. I've got a natural conditioner. It was a gift, but that's every 2 or 3 days. I'll wash my hair with it. Outside of
It's
that, man,
1123 right now in Mountain Time Zone.
okay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna dip out because it's about dinner time for me. I woke up late today, so I just had breakfast a little while ago, and now I'm already gonna have dinner. And I gotta check on my guy and see if he's done working out in the yard. But maybe somebody else will come up, and I'll check back in with you whenever I'm done doing what I'm doing.
Well, sure, and I really appreciate you being just being you
Present.
because
Yeah. I appreciate you being you too, and here to support.
that is everything, and it's not gone unnoticed. Believe me.
Yeah, well, and
It's
I
very,
know you said a few times that whenever this is done, that you might end it. I hope you don't, but if you do, I'll accept that, and I'll enjoy the time that we have between now and then.
yeah, absolutely. You know, I can't, I can't, I can't be a source of inspiration to anyone whenever all it's drawing is contempt and
Yeah,
resistance.
it's not just
So
doing this. Just saying.
that's very counterproductive,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what I want to avoid. Maybe I'll go back to just leaving it to open panels and exchanges of information amongst civilized and socially, you know, compliant people that can exchange that information without rage or hatred or arguing.
Yeah, that'd be
I'd love that
yeah.
if it could happen, you know.
Yeah. Well, I
But
hope somebody else comes up and keeps you company tonight. And if they don't, then well, I'll see you, I'm sure, tomorrow since we're doing this for 28 days and this is day 10.
yes, yeah, I'm absolutely and not going to deviate from it. It has done exactly what it was intended to do. It has been quite effective, and I imagine it will continue to be effective until the very end. And then at that point, we'll, hopefully, maybe change it back to Rat Blood Radio and carry on. Maybe
I like
then
that.
people learned their lesson.
Yeah. Well, or not, but hopefully they'll leave you alone. Either way.
Yeah, just don't just let me be, man.
Yeah,
Really.
keep your positivity to yourself. It's not needed here. We got plenty of both positivity and neutrality and maybe a little bit of negativity, but we're not perfect.
No, none of us are, and I'm not. I definitely am not perfect. I've learned from my mistakes, and I've continued to make them, so I continue to learn. And Cypher, thank you. I can't express how much appreciation I have for you.
Well, and I appreciate you back, and it appreciates.
Right. Thank you.
See you later. Mwah.
Alrighty. You have a great night.
You too.
Amazing. Wonderful. Very wonderful to have an exchange with a fellow human being. And I really, really admire the fact that she has a productive sense of her art. Seems that people that have a productive sense of art or some type of even hobby are more centered people, and they are a lot less concerned with what other people are thinking or doing. And maybe it's because they're occupied with themselves and their own endeavors. Idle hands are the devil's plaything.
And you might think, well, maybe people who have deprived and traumatic upbringings use that experience in their creative work. The passions that they feel and the horrors that they have experienced emerge in the music. Between genius and madness. Between genius and madness. Now, if we look at some of the great geniuses in the past, a number of them seem to have gone mad in their mature years. This bipolar mood disorder overlaps with schizophrenia, madness and creativity. This bipolar mood disorder overlaps with schizophrenia, madness and creativity. A bit like somebody on an acid trip. 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 What is it that links genius and madness? Particularly music. What is it that links genius and madness? Particularly music.
All right. Genius and madness. I can think of a few of those throughout history. The more profound musicians that have entered the realm of complete madness, displaying some state of genius in their performance and their music. More recognized, more profound. Let us not forget why we are here. Tonight, we are starting with Zechariah. And I think we're even going to throw, since it's been such a wonderful couple days, the book of Matthew in there too. So, lest we forget, we are offering up Zechariah and Matthew into the blood ritual. This is the 10th day. I am a persistent motherfucker. Almost as persistent as a troll. It's just that trolls have no conviction other than their own narcissistic self-endeavors to try and prove a point, to solidify themselves as being acknowledged, relevant, and they will imply themselves upon you through intimidation, through information, persecution. They will use any means available to them because they are bottom feeding to support their endeavor to try and make themselves relevant and solidified. Thus, we have the flame, the sacred flame. Look, it burns. And we have the blood, the sacred blood, and we shall administer the blood as we have been past 9 days. And it shall smolder in the sacred cauldron, and it will continue to do as it has done. And there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it, so kiss my ass. As for the rest of you, we should, do I even have something that I would consider to be sacred as far as music and sound go? I try not to set aside too many of these musical endeavors to have a profound attachment to me. I try to be a little bit common in their message, except for a tribute that I do play occasionally for all of the rats that have managed to get their lives and the endeavors of study and research and all the life that I've had to feed to my pets for life, mostly mice. And I did write a small song, a moment of silence, for all of these life eating life, consuming life, and the benefit that it brings to nurture and sustain someone or something's being. A moment of silence, please. Yes, I do have a bit of compassion towards certain life forms, maybe not the same ones that you do. But I suppose that's just an individual take and perspective. Sometimes I find joy in things that you would not ever comprehend. And with that, it's been a peaceful endeavor tonight. Been an enjoyable endeavor for me. I have every intent to continue on. And with that, I think I'm going to finish up some scale modeling. I have some new sculpting clay that I want to start using. And I think I'm going to break it out tonight and do some terrain sculpting for my scale modeling. And with that, I will leave the rest of you contemptuous people, unlike those who endeavor to enjoy this platform as well as I enjoy their company. And for the haters, here you go. Before I leave, I have a whole barrel of it.
Trembling with horror and throbbing with emotion. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Trembling with horror. Welcome to hell.
All of my most sensitive areas were inflamed. My extremities pulsating with tingling sensation.
Welcome to hell.
Have we seen the actual reality of a monstrous crime? Or merely an illusion, the product of a tortured brain?
Obsessed with the taste of flesh.
He was cruel and a sadist.
Swaying back and forth. A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip.
A beautiful thing taking me away.
No one had a bad trip. It was all very good.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
My head is spinning. My head is spinning. My head is spinning.
Sucking the hallucinatory acid into the system.
No one had a bad trip.
The mind of man rests on a delicate balance between reality, the world of light, and the other, darker world, low threshold of consciousness.
Welcome to hell. You. Do you know that? We're happy to have you with us tonight and hope you'll come back often.